When I think of judges, I think of God. Because like God, a judge decides the fate of a man. Just as God decides to kill one of his creatures, a judge condemns somebody to death. Judges don't have hearts. Their hearts are engraved with penal codes. It is very easy for them to give the ruling, 10 years jail and 14 strokes. Woe unto you if you are brought before a judge who is suffering from a hangover or diarrhea. In a hurry to rush to the toilets, he won't bother to consider your case seriously. He will leave you at the mercy of the merciless penal code. That was what I feared as I waited for judgment. The usual godly atmosphere hung inside the packed courtroom. The judge, clad in his official gowns, represented a kind of earthly god, while the clerk, the journalists, and the police served as his angels. Sitting at the prosecution table was the stocky prosecutor for whom I wished anything from heart failure to a fall from the topmost story of the Kenyatta Conference Center. Seated in the first row of the congregation were Kahuthu and his wife. The civil servant looked like a deposed president hiding among peasants. My entire family and friends sat in the middle rows, the furthest distance from the Kahuthus. On this day, the judge was going to give a ruling on a very rare case. It wasn't very usual for a poor carpenter, an ex-houseboy, to have a row with a senior civil servant over his daughter. It was equally rare for an educated, sophisticated, and cultured girl to have anything to do with a plebeian like me. At the first hearing, the court had heard how Chuma, a carpenter by profession, had forcibly abducted Caroline Wambui, the daughter of a respectable man. The charges went as far as stating that I had behaved in a way likely to cause a breach of the peace, in that I had resisted arrest. That explained why my face was battered, a scuffle with the police. At the second hearing, witnesses had clashed with the prosecution almost to the point of open war. Boldly calling the police liars, one of my relatives had made it clear that he was going to help me file a suit against the state for the treatment I had received from the police, even if it meant selling all his land. The most enthralling witnesses were the elders who had gone to see Kahuthu. They made the court almost burst with restrained laughter when they related how Kahuthu had thrown away their walking staffs, leaving their weak legs almost helpless. My father had lost his shoes, which didn't fit him properly in any case in the rush to get away from the bully who had no respect for the elderly. Another elder had stumbled and nearly lost his 4 remaining teeth. He explained that since this had been the first time for him to wear trousers, his movements had been hampered as he tried to get out of the place. The bespectacled elder had lost one eyeglass and not realized it because it was hard for him to notice that anything transparent was missing. The most interesting spectacle in the courtroom was Caroline. She had remained deaf to all questions. The obvious reason was that she had been told by her parents what to say against me. A couple of times, she had opened her mouth to say something, but when she looked in my direction, she became tongue-tied. Apparently, she wanted to disappoint neither her parents nor me, and that had made the judge very suspicious. It made everybody wonder what the judge was going to rule. The moment of tension came when the judge shuffled the files before him and looked straight at Caroline. "Caroline Wambui," he called. Her mother gestured for her to stand up. "Do you know that man?" The judge pointed at me. "Yes," she said in a faint voice. "Is it true that he detained you in his home without your consent?" She looked around helplessly. I saw her mother trying to wink at her, but she avoided meeting her eyes. The judge repeated the question. "No, I went there myself and decided to stay." Whispers and sighs expressed the feelings of the people in the courtroom. Kahuthu fidgeted as if his seat was infested with biting ants. The expression on his wife's face reminded me of something I had read about Sodom and Gomorrah, the wife of Lot, who had turned into a pillar of salt. "May I suggest that you are or you were in love with the accused?" Again she looked around, and this time our eyes met. "Yes." More sighs and whispers. "Could it be likely that you were forced to disagree with your parents because they stood between you and your love?" "Yes." "How old are you?" 18. "That's all," the judge said, and then called my name. "Your Honor," I nearly shouted. "How old are you?" 19, sir. "That's all." A deep silence hung in the courtroom. Tension mounted within me so that it became a problem to breathe. Looking across at Kahuthu, I saw him busily mopping his shining face with a handkerchief. His wife was still in Sodom. The judge started his marathon ruling. In view of the facts before me, I find this case to be a special one, needing special consideration. Starting with the accused, it has been established that Simon Chuma is a law-abiding citizen who has worked for the plaintiff for a number of years, during which time he befriended Caroline Wambwe, his daughter of the plaintiff. Somehow, a love developed between the pair and eventually reached a point of no return. Owing to obvious difficulties, the pair plotted to retreat to the only place where they would avoid harassment. The allegation that Chuma had enticed Caroline into running away with him and later detained her is a fabrication in that Caroline has admitted that it was she who followed him and decided to stay. The accused acted in a commendable manner. For instance, he stayed with Caroline in his own home instead of hiding, as often happens in such cases. He even took the trouble to settle the possible dispute in an orderly manner. There is strong evidence to support the allegation that Chuma sent elders to see Caroline's father with the intention of starting formal negotiations leading to the marriage of the two lovers. However, I don't approve of the way the accused and Caroline behaved in the first place. It led to the plaintiff worrying for 3 days about his daughter's disappearance. Under such provocation, the plaintiff was bound to be rough with the accused when they met. If such a thing happened, he didn't want to commit himself. The technicalities of the objective, not the law, would put the blame on the accused. He hesitated for a while, looked at the congregation blankly, and then prepared to pass the sentence. The court finds Simon Chuma not guilty of all the charges laid against him. Somebody coughed, unable to restrain his emotional buildup. All eyes were directed at me like the guns of an execution squad aiming at the victim. Kahuthu made as if to rise, but the judge had one more thing to say. May I also point out that the law upholds personal liberties and freedom of determination. Caroline is over 16 and therefore mature enough to differentiate between bad and good. Chuma is 19, a mature male capable of looking after himself. There is no law or individual who can stop the two from acting on their decision so long as there is a mutual consent between them. Hooray! You should have seen the reaction of the people. If a courtroom was a pub, the magistrate could have drowned in beer. Judge of judges, spotless character, impartial, no fear or favor. May God keep him longer to judge people. What happened outside the court drew a crowd of spectators. Kahuthu and his wife stood at the end of the corridor as if their legs had rebelled. Shielded by my supporters, I slowly walked in the opposite direction to avoid a possible confrontation with the bewildered couple. That gave Caroline an option to decide which direction to take, towards her parents or my group. As if the drama had been prearranged, Caroline had lagged behind the diverting crowds. She hesitated for a while, looked across at her parents, and indecisively walked left. Then she increased her speed and walked towards me.